Sometimes you walk into a place feeling hopeful, only to leave with your heart heavy and your spirit crushed. That was me one fateful day when I went to Divas Hair Salon, brimming with excitement for a fresh set of boho braids. I'm not talking about just any braids. I had a vision, an ombre effect, with soft curls cascading down my shoulders, a look that would make me feel like an absolute queen. But what I stepped out with was a total disaster that left me feeling embarrassed and humiliated. Let me rewind a bit. The day of my appointment, I arrived with my hair meticulously prepped, and I was ready to spend the money for the style I had always dreamed of. I was in the salon for nearly 9 hours, which is already pushing it, but I thought it would be worth it in the end. All that time and effort, only for my braids to look like a haphazard mix of rushed work and confusion. The ombre effect? It was patchy, almost like they had just colored random sections of my hair without a second thought. The curls? They were about as inconsistent as they could get. Some tight, some loose, some completely straight. I could feel the tears welling up as I checked out my reflection. It was not a cute look. I tried to shake off my disappointment and hoped maybe a good night's sleep would help. But when I woke up the next morning and caught sight of my braids in daylight, a wave of frustration washed over me. It was worse than I thought. So I decided to go back to the salon and talk to the owner, hoping to sort things out. Imagine my surprise when I walked in, ready to express my concerns professionally, and was met with hostility. I had barely opened my mouth when one of the stylists physically shoved me. I couldn't believe it. Who does that? I know these situations get heated, but I never expected that kind of aggression. I felt scared and cornered. As a stylist jabbed me with a comb and insisted there was nothing wrong with my hair, I felt the anger boiling inside me. I was just trying to solve a problem, and suddenly I was in the middle of a nightmare. To add insult to injury, when I tried to call a family friend who's a retired stylist for advice, my phone was yanked out of my hands, more than once. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I felt unsafe just trying to figure out a solution to a subpar hair experience. After what felt like an eternity of back and forth, I finally got them to agree to a refund on the condition that I remove the braids. But after experiencing their aggression, I couldn't fathom letting them touch my hair again. I hired another stylist to remove the braids professionally. This person, who I later found out had previously worked at Divas, confirmed everything I feared. My edges were damaged, and I had bald spots. Not only that, but they also ruined my human hair extensions by mishandling them and treating them carelessly. You would think that would be the end of my troubles. But oh no, the saga continued. When I sought a refund, Divas flat out refused, so I took to the internet, leaving an honest negative review detailing the entire experience. What happened next left me speechless. The owner had the audacity to contact my employer, claiming that I was harassing her and being racist. Can you believe it? Our shared background as Black individuals made her accusations even more infuriating. I felt trapped. Here I was, simply trying to share my experience, and instead I was being painted as the villain. Frustrated and desperate, I decided to take my story public in a much bigger way. I went onto a classified ad site and paid to have my experience featured on the front page. I wanted to warn others, to give them a heads up to avoid the same heavy heart and humiliation I had faced. But this is where I began to question myself. Was I too far gone? Some friends and even family members pointed out that Miss Ward, the owner, was a Black businesswoman. They argued that I was harming our community by speaking out against her. They said I needed to support our own. But how could I support a business that treats its customers this way? I was torn. Now I'm sharing this with all of you, hoping to gain some perspective. Was I the asshole for taking my experience public in such a dramatic fashion, or was I justified in wanting to protect others from a similar fate? I genuinely want to know what you all think. What would you have done in my shoes?